Okay, so I had someone actually request that we do more video games. Fair enough. And I thought we would talk about a very classic video game that is still popular today. It has, yeah, I'm totally blanking now. It's turned into a card game. So the name of the game is The Oregon Trail. Oh, I played this so much when I was a kid. I played it in grade school, I played it in middle school. I mean, even in high school, there was like one computer that we had. Because the computer lab was supposed to be for like a specific thing, and then in the library, she had. Yeah, she had two different computers. One was so that she could check out books, and then the other one was kind of like for games. Okay, so the game, which is surprised me a little bit, I thought it was released in the 80s. It was released in 1971, so it is a very old game. It was released by MECC, which is the Minnesota Educational Computing Consortium. Which, at the time, you saw several games from this company. Another one would be like a Word Muncher, Number Muncher. I'm pretty sure they were released by this. Again, sorry that I'm touching my hair so much. I need to switch shampoos. This shampoo is not working for me. So apparently, Oregon Trail was part of a series. The others didn't make it so much. This one was more popular. There was the Amazon Trail and the Yukon Trail. Let me read. Releasing editions by various developers. Wait. Okay, the game was the first entry in the Oregon Trail series and had since been released in many editions, inspiring a number of spin-offs such as the Yukon Trail and the Amazon Trail. Okay, let's see the Oregon Trail series. Okay, Amazon Trail, Yukon. Okay, so that was right. The Maya Quest, Mystery Trail, and the Africa Trail. I just didn't know that those existed. I only knew about the Oregon Trail. So I'm sure that you guys know. Of course, where I live, we are so behind. We're lucky that we knew about the Oregon Trail. So I'm sure I don't have to talk about the basis. Everyone knows what it is of the game. You travel across. Everyone knows about the whole you died of dysentery. That happened to me so much. I think I beat the game like one time. And I played it so much. Oh, I was so mad. I remember crossing the river and that raft fell apart. So, what was it like? Mary died in the river. It's like, well, that's her fault. I can remember playing. We were in middle school, and we were playing, and this kid that was sitting next to me, and I can remember him playing, and one of the kids died in his game, and it said so and so died in the river, and he's like, "Well, that's her fault." I remember that, but I do. And I remember the hunting game. Oh gosh, I remember the first time I played. Oh, I was in about second grade, because in first grade we were learning how to use the computer. Oh, this dates me so much. Because in kindergarten it was like 87 is when I started kindergarten, so 30 years ago. And in first grade they were teaching us how to use the computer before we could actually go into the computer lab. And so in second grade we got to go in there, and we thought we were pretty cool. And on Friday, we always had Friday fun day, and so we go in there on Friday, and we got to play the games. And I remember going in there and playing the game, and of course you go into the general store and you have to buy all your supplies. I used up all the money. I was not very smart. And I was not a very I was of course by middle school I got a little smarter. And I was a terrible shot too. I think I shot a rabbit one time. But the game is just, it's addicting and it's fun and it's more nostalgic for my generation. And I didn't know that it was from the 70s. That cracks me up. But like I've said before, I went to 2 grade schools. And the first one, we went into the computer lab all the time. Well, in the second one, it was like they never let us in there. And I could never understand that. I remember going in there and I was like, "Do you guys have a computer lab?" And they're like, "No." But they did. I don't know. And then it was like when we went into middle school that we could use computers again. So in the game, there's landmarks. If you haven't, I'm pretty sure you know. There's the Kansas River, Big Blue River, Fort Kearney, Chimney Rock, Fort Laramie. I'm not going to list all of them. Snake River, which is in my area. So there's just like a whole bunch of different landmarks. And then you do like the hunting. You have to use different, and I hated the hunting. And then of course there's the dying. Everybody knows about the diet of dysentery. Diet of dysentery, and then there's like the snake bite. I don't remember the snake bite so much. There's also typhoid, the measles. Usually when I played, I would get the measles, exhaustion, typhoid, not the cholera or snake bite. I know a couple other kids that did. And then there was also drowning. I have never heard of accidental gunshot wounds. But that's a new one to me. Of course, maybe when they're shooting and hunting. Of course, I had a friend when we were in middle school and we would be playing, and he was a wild shot. I mean, and for some reason, you would get like the little rabbits and the little fox, and or those foxes or rabbits and squirrels, and there were also deer and elk. Somehow with his wild shots, he would get the bison. And it's like, how do you do that? And, but anyway. And usually at the school, this was usually with those like the word muncher, number muncher. We didn't have word muncher. We only had number muncher around here anyway, that I know of. I never heard of word muncher before. We always had number muncher. And number muncher I have as a pattern. I've wanted to do a pattern for Oregon Trail. I've seen other people's patterns or needlework projects and it's fantastic. Makes me a little jealous that I didn't jump on it sooner. The artwork or the graphics, wait a minute, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit because I saw something here. Apparently where did it go? Okay, so in the hunting, in the 40th version, you can also, 40th anniversary version, you can also go fishing, which is not in the earlier versions. Which I'm intrigued by that. I think that would be interesting. Of course, knowing the game, you'd probably end up falling in the lake and drowning. The game is sick like that. And twisted. So the platforms for the game, of course, are like Android, Apple, Atari. You have like the 8-bit game, Macintosh, iOS. I'm not familiar with BlackBerry so much. And then, of course, you have DOS. A lot of people these days are not as familiar with DOS. I grew up on DOS. DOS and Apple. I had no idea that Facebook had it. And Java. Now Nintendo has it. Nintendo 3DS, Wii, Windows. Now everybody has it. And I'm sure people are like, yeah, thanks for telling us something we already know. And of course there's a card game now. I saw that. I actually saw it in Target. I was like, this is so cool. I grew up with this. But yeah, it's a single player. Yeah. So Broderbund, and I'm probably not saying that right. They released Carmen Sandiego, and they took over the Oregon Trail. I think it said that the original, yeah, it's a learning company. Like Brain Teaser games and stuff. Prince of Persia is another one. The Myst games. If you don't know what that is, I'll have to do another video and talk about that. Oh, that was a great group of games. Never got through them, and I was kind of upset about that. So like Prince of Persia and Carmen Sandiego, the Myst games, and this one as it continued. But anyhow, this game ruled my childhood. I mean, like I said, from first grade. No, first grade was when I started learning about because kindergarten, you're learning numbers and colors and stuff. And then first grade, you're actually learning about computer, because the 80s were like the computer age. Computers were everything. And you kind of get a flavor of that if you watch Flight of the Navigator. Yeah, you get a huge flavor of that. And so, and not just that, but like movies like Johnny Five, the movie with Johnny Five, Short Circuit. That's the movie. So yeah, it was a computer generation. And a lot of video games. And so I started school 30 years ago, and then when I started first grade, they were teaching us how to actually, I mean, even at a young age in first grade, we were learning how to use computers. And of course, I already knew how because every house had a computer. But it was kind of like in high school, we had typing class. So, you know. And then, of course, we had the computer lab, and there were, of course, games like this one. And I am very interested in those other games, though, like the Yukon Trail and the Amazon Trail. I had never heard of those until just now. So I will have to look those up. I will, of course, put them in the description so that you can look those up. It could be a lot, like I said, a lot of times stuff like that never comes to here. Like, we didn't get Word Muncher, we got Number Muncher. Like I said, I have a pattern for him. But anyway, yeah, so this is Oregon Trail, one of my favorite games. I'd love to play it again. Die of dysentery again. Like I said, I played it for as much as I played it. I died. I won one time. I think I got to the Oregon. I think I got to Oregon once. Oh man. And I think the best part was being in the computer lab and playing with other people and seeing how their progression was next to mine. I think that's some of the nostalgia for it too. But anyway, so yeah, the fact that it's in 1971, I thought that it was released in the 80s. I really did. But anyhow, so yeah, that is Oregon Trail.